Rob and the library as well, and so it gives me a lot of confidence in our staff. So my appreciation.
Yep. Ditto.
Great. Anyone else? All right. I will take a vote on Order 15209. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Moving on to Order 15210, order establishing the Village Green Construction Fund with a transfer of $25,000 from the Library Pine Street Construction Fund as appropriated in the approved FY15 capital budget, accepting funds in the amount of $235,000 from the Orono Public Library Foundation in installments if necessary for the construction of the Orono Village Green, and further to authorize the town manager to execute an agreement with Oliver Associates of Winterport, Maine for pre-construction and contract administration services in an amount not to exceed $26,000 with funds drawn of the Village Green Construction Fund.
Should be from. That's my
From.
typo.
Okay, from. All right, can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
All right. Lori?
Yeah, Lori Carpenter, the library director. This community is very fortunate to have lots of support for the library, including the town council, and 3 other groups, including the foundation, who's been working hard for years, first to help raise funds for our facility at 39 Pine Street. And once that was done in 2009, they jumped right in on a second campaign, Chapter 2, to complete the project with a landscaping design for the backyard. As of August this past year, they completed their fundraising campaign with over 340 donors, and they are now ready to gift that money to the town, looking ahead to construction, hopefully in the spring, finishing in the summer. So we're ready to go ahead with an agreement with Oliver Associates to do some pre-construction work. I'm going to let Rob kind of talk to that, speak to that a little bit and answer some questions around that. So that's just kind of an overview of what the foundation has been doing and where we are now. And I'll let Rob talk about the next step.
So the Village Green, Rob Yerkes, Public Works Director. The Village Green construction project is now ready. It's been approved by the planning board, and we have now amassed total funding of about $260,000 to support the construction phase of the project. First step is to begin working with Oliver Associates to develop the construction plans. The foundation developed a set of concept plans that were detailed in some aspects and not in others, and now it's time to bring all the details up so it's ready to bid as a true construction project this spring. Oliver Associates' work will include all the necessary aspects of the project development that we'll need, from survey to development of the specifications, materials, choices, those types of things, that we'll be working with the foundation to make sure that the vision gets delivered to actually when we hit shovel to ground this spring. So Mandy's work will bring us right through the bid, up to and through the bidding process, contract administration, and then we have an option to continue with them to actually go out there and inspect the work. If needed, we'll kind of feel that one out when we get to that point. But this will be the first step in bringing the project up to a biddable project with the hope that we can get it out there this spring for a summer construction.
Anyone have any questions for Lori or Rob?
Is there any money being put aside for maintenance?
Yes, the agreement with the foundation is that each year they will fundraise $5,000 for maintenance, and that's for the first 5 years. After that, I believe the town may be the one to take it over. The first 5 years, I think, is going to be the most important as far as establishing the plantings. We did, have a couple of trees not make it when we first moved in, and we don't want that to happen again. So certainly we've made plans for the maintenance.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? I was just curious, Rob, is this going to be kind of a specialty construction company? Is this a,
It's going to appeal to, it's primarily a landscaping project, so it's going to appeal to a pretty wide range of mid to larger landscaping contractors, but there'll be a pretty wide range of contractors I think will be interested in this kind of project.
great. Sophie, do you-
The only thing I would ask, landscaping, plant choice is something that we got some feedback on beautification committee and also planning board. And we know that we can have the most well-intended architects developing something, but what gets planted isn't necessarily, or chosen by them, isn't necessarily what works best. So I would just like Lori to speak for a minute about and Sarah, if she wants, to talk about the special arrangement we have with the foundation and volunteers.
Oh, sure. I meant to mention that, sorry. We have 3 citizens who have come forward to be part of a plantings committee, along with Sarah and myself, and Rob, too, looking at some low-maintenance plantings, plants that are already established. They've already identified things in the backyard that are there that can stay and actually be part of the plan, but really looking at not just native plantings necessarily, but ones that will work in the space and won't require a tremendous amount of maintenance for years to come.
And I hope you give some really serious consideration to non-invasives.
And non-invasives, absolutely. Yes, I can tell you that, I don't know if you want the 3 members of, yes. Lisa Colburn, Lenore Tipping-Spitz, and Krista Schwitzer are the 3 citizens who are working, and they're very enthusiastic and working very hard to get this going.
The only other thing I would add is that, this has been a huge project to raise the funds, and the foundation has done a great job, and they're essentially gifting council with the money and the plans, but I'm very pleased to see that they're still staying involved to make sure that what gets delivered is what they promise people, so in the end, we should have a project that folks are happy with.
If I may, on a similar note, I'd just like to acknowledge and thank Sarah Kenny, who has chaired the foundation throughout this project and just done a wonderful job for anything I've heard or seen, organizing people and doing the hard work of raising money, especially after we went through a large project just prior to that. That was really impressive work.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. Anyone else have any questions?
I'd just throw out to the community, if anybody's interested in being involved with the Library Foundation, there'll be some turnover on the board, I understand. So,
Retirements,
retirements, yeah. So, it's a wonderful group, and it's a great project that they've dedicated themselves to. And I'd encourage people in the community consider throwing in and helping them out.
Anyone else? All right, I will take an vote on Order 15210. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, moving on to future agenda items and items of concern. Judy, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, Jeff?
No? Yeah, I have a question to throw out to council. And the way we organize ourselves in terms of the agenda, particularly for the victualers licenses, would it be possible to put the items, the orders associated with those public hearings in the consent agenda? And then if during the public hearing it becomes evident that there's an issue with one of them, we could take a motion to pull it off the consent agenda and then deal with it. I think that would, I know not this meeting wasn't so bad, but some meetings, they go on and on and on for quite a bit of time, and I think that would, and most of the time aren't any issues, so I think that might speed things up if we can consider doing something like that.
I would want to review the state requirements for the,
I think you're fine with the state requirement. whether it's on consent or not, it's still an acted on issue and the public hearing has been held. My only question is, normally, we simply write an order and then condition it and then tell you that it needs to be conditioned and you change that. So the question I would have is, if there was something that needed to be conditioned, would you want to have that stay with the public hearing or in new business, or would you like us to just write it in, and if something changes, you could take it off
It could
the
stay with the,
consent?
it could stay with the public hearing, I would think.
If
yeah.
it's going to be conditioned, we'd leave it with the public
If you
hearing?
know it's going to be conditioned, or there's an issue that we know of
Yep.
prior to the public hearing, and then, yeah, don't put it on the consent. But
Does that work for folks?
I think it would speed things up a
Awesome.
lot, so.
Fine.
Well, we will start doing that.
Okay. Tom?
I think Jeff's doing well, so I'm going to pass.
Tom Perry?
Well, yeah, the only thing I have is our auditors were here recently, and I guess have completed their work, and,
No, they'll be
Okay.
back December 7th.
all right. Do we have a sense of when we'll get a presentation from them?
The hope is that we would still get a presentation in January,
Good.
in time for you to be able to adopt or accept the audit.
Great.
Sam, do you have any items of concern? Mark? All right. I have one thing, but Sophie, you can go.
So I actually have something. It appears as though we will likely need to have a special council meeting between now and December 9th. And I just want to make folks aware of that. My intent would be to try to keep that on a Monday. If you know you're not going to be available a Monday between November 16th and December 7th, would you please let me know as soon as possible? I think
This will be a
it's the
7
7th.
o'clock meeting,
Huh?
a 7 o'clock meeting.
I think it could still be a 5:30 meeting because the things that we're dealing with are more pro forma. You know, one's an executive session for a poverty abatement, and the other one is a waiver of foreclosure. So I'm not sure that they're lengthy but I think it's important to have counselors there. So if you can't make one of those Mondays, please let me know.
I don't know if anyone saw, well, I know Tom Spitz saw, I received an email asking if we would sign on to a climate change petition. It's a national petition. 28 mayors have signed it so far, and they had sent it to me, and so I didn't want to just do anything without council's opinions on it. So I didn't know if anyone,
No, I didn't have any objections to it.
I'd like to, I haven't had a chance to read it.
okay,
It's in the email.
yep,
I'd like to wait to read it, maybe have a discussion.
okay. I think I've got time.
Okay.
When did you send it to?
Thursday or Friday.
Oh, I didn't get it.
I think I sent it to your Orono.
No, well,
Yeah. Okay, I'll resend it.
I read it. I was in full support of that.
Yeah, I was too.
Okay. Great, all right, then I will get feedback from you guys. Send it to the right email address. Public petitions, I don't think we have any. Public comments, do we have one?
This evening, I need some notes for this one. At the risk of the loss of sex appeal, I was going to bring up this. I wanted to discuss the vape shop. There's like have people noticed there's a vape shop and lounge? I just didn't recall seeing that brought to council for any kind of licensing and.
It's not in our licensing purview.
What about for serving food such as juice? Because that's some signage as well. They've got a juice bar.
Juice covered.
They have to, in order to require a vituller's license, they have to make the food so if it's a homemade food, then we would have to do it, but we're not aware of that.
Homemade juice doesn't count as that.
Is it homemade juice?
According to signage. I'd have to check again.
I'm going to forward that to code enforcement. He nodded, so.
Though I just wanted to bring to public's attention, just want to bring some awareness pertaining to vaping. In terms of it, I want to voice my thoughts about such. In terms of it, it's often promoted as being kind of like beneficial or an alternative to quitting smoking. You know, and honestly, back in early 1900s, like around 1920, 1930 and whatnot, you know, cigarettes were considered harmless to people. And what have we learned since then? Though some locations in Asia actually prescribe cigarettes, but this isn't Asia. This is the United States with modern science. And I just wanted to mention, you know, in terms of quitting smoking, if someone wants to quit smoke, quit. Have some self-control. Know it's harmful. Quit. As for vaping, I went and researched the chemicals involved with vaping. They include propylene glycol, and here's some little the facts on propylene glycol. Low toxicity. It's related to ethylene glycol, which is found in antifreeze. Moderately toxic to humans, fatal to animals. It's used for polyester resin production, as well as various junk food products. It's also used for aircraft de-icing and treating livestock of ketosis. The effects of it can be conjunctivitis, so that's one of the symptoms. And for those family people, it's in children, causes asthma, hay fever, and eczema. So for those smokers trying to quit smoking, thinking that vaping is healthy, if you've got children, it might be bothering your children. The other chemical is glycerin, which is also used in the food industry. Various daily applications such as soaps, historically used in antifreeze, and
Susan,
an internal combustion
I
fuel.
appreciate that, but we.
So I mentioned such simply because when I walk through my town, I just as soon see establishments that I can respect. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that needs going to a lungs is oxygen. You know, vaping is kind of like, I liken it to, it's like acceptable huffing. So just wanted to mention that. Because not many people are willing to lose their sex appeal making such statements. I can hear them in Boston, in Manhattan's Chinatown. They're already screaming, "Shut up, Sue, shut up." Though aside from that, I also wanted to wish all those who celebrate the holiday have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much, Susan. Whoop. All right. Anyone else? No? And I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Yes.
Thank you. So, what I was curious about.
How much?
Well,
I can read
what I
them.
was curious about, this is all the back. Right? No, those are all the
Those-
pages?
there's some
Oh.
pages in there.
So how did you get it to look like that? I mean, not that if that's all it is, we can't read them. I just,
Well, it's just the picture pages.
yeah,
So if
oh,
I know I want to go to page 30, I just go.
oh, I see.
Here, and then
Oh, okay. Okay. How did you get it set up like that?
6 o'clock.
Did that?